What is up, guys? Welcome back to Rip City Rundown. It is our final podcast before the start of the 2023-2024 NBA season. We are recording this as of Monday night, October 23rd. First game will be Wednesday night against the Clippers, and we'll have a post-game podcast for that one as well. And then we'll be back to your usually scheduled Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time podcast. So sorry for the two random times here. I'm sorry, it's not all three of us. We've only got the two of us tonight. It is me and Wes, no Cody, but he will be back on, hopefully, for the Wednesday podcast. But, when we have these weird times, it's hard to get everyone in just back on when we're not at the usual times. We got lives here, folks. We got lives. But if you are not necessarily an OG listener, but if you have been listening over the last year or two, you've probably become accustomed to, normally Cole's background is the Blazers jerseys, the Dame ball. We got a bag of seeds, and maybe about half the time, more specifically in the last couple months, Wes's background, you got some shirts on some canvases. We're actually in the opposite. Obviously, Wes has had that background for the last couple, I now guess now months. But I'm in Wes's background, so that's a lot of talking for an intro, but how you doing, Wes? This is our first time talking about preseason, I believe. You did a video on preseason, so some people know your thoughts, but I'll be interested to hear yours. I did not check out that video, so I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, good evening, Cole. It's weird to see you in my spot and me in your spot, but we had to keep people on their toes. So,
And by the way, the sound quality's bad. Sorry, we're reverting back to how it was during the end of last season.
you got the headset
Didn't
on for the
didn't
audio
bring my
listeners.
mic didn't bring my mic home with me from college for the weekend, but we're making it work.
Yeah. Well, preseason, like you said, over. First game Wednesday night against the Clippers on the road. If you're a betting man, the spread's 9.5. So that just tells you where Vegas thinks the Blazers are here to open the year. Which leads me into my main point that I took away from preseason is this team is young, going to make mistakes, and will be bad. I think I opened that video with the preseason showed me that the Vegas line is indeed correct of 28.5 wins. I would lean under. Of course, I'm not going to bet the Blazers to go under because that's no fun. I'm not going to bet that. But if I had to, I would take the under. In terms of how fun this team will be, they'll be interesting. And I know we've been preaching that, and you've heard that before, but I gave an example in that video of Chumani Kamara. He had an incredible game against the Jazz. And it's going to be stories like that throughout the year. Little snapshots of great play from random players that will, I think, be the most fun part of the season. Unless we actually start off hot, then vibes will be good. I saw a lot of people comment on my video about how the Blazers are going to prove me wrong. And this is what I'll say to that. I hope they do. It's a win-win for me. If they're bad, I'm right. And if they're good, that's great. So I like where I'm at, but I'm not going to be overly optimistic because from what I saw in preseason, I think you might have told this to me, Cole. I know Cody definitely didn't. You probably told me that when the starters were in for the other team, it was like minimum 35-point quarters or something.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not completely positive, but I do know at least majority, if not all of the quarters where it was starter v starter. Let's just say the defense was very bad. And that's expected when you
Right.
have a lot of people are saying, well, you brought in Brogdon, Robert Williams, Ayton, Jeremy Grant's a good defender, Matisse is a good defender. Yeah, those are all good individual defenders. But when your defense is spearheaded by two guys that are below average defensively, Anthony, we've known that. Hopefully he gets better. That's something he said that he wants to do. But I mean, at some point, you're going to have to accept that he's a bad defender. Then Scoot, I believe he can become a good defender, but he is 19, so odds of him being a great defender out of the gate are very low. And then Shaden, obviously super young too, has the
Youth.
potential, not there. That's we've been harping on it all offseason. That's going to be a theme of this team. It's youth, it's inexperience, and it's just there's going to be one game. The Blazers might come out against the Clippers and somehow, well, not even somehow, win that game, and you're going to be on cloud nine. And then I don't remember who we play the next game. That's something we'll go over
The
the
Magic.
schedule.
I think it's Magic at home.
We go Magic at home, and that very well could be a game that you think, oh, we beat the Clippers, or we're going to beat the Magic, and we get spanked by 30. Like, this is just going to be an up and down year. If you're just going by wins and losses, probably more downs than ups.
Most likely.
But again, that's
Almost
something
very
we've
likely.
said. You can't watch this season based on record. You can't come into this season and say, if we stink, then I'm out on everybody on this team, because that's just not what the season is expected to be. So I think it's going to be a little more healthy than the last 2 years, because obviously that expectation is different, but it's it's going to be weird. And I
It
know
will be weird.
I am prepared for it. Do I wish it didn't? I of course I wish we were winning, but I am, I think, more prepared for this than the average Blazer fan, just based on what you're saying, the comments were, what I've seen on social media. Um, we're not a good team, just
No.
frankly.
Well, I'm excited for personally to watch games, and I mentioned this in that video as well, and we've mentioned this on the podcast. Like, I've made the joke before, like, it's gonna be nice not having a random January game where I'm just sweating out this road game at the freaking Pistons, and we're down
Yeah.
10 at the end of the first because Jaden Ivey's cooking, and I need Dame to go score 50 to beat the Pistons. Now I don't have to watch the game as closely in terms of like, did we get the bucket this time down the floor, or did we not? Like, now I've what I'm going to do when I watch these games, and granted, I'm not going to watch every game. I would go insane because I don't want to watch my team do bad things. Of course, we all want our teams to succeed, but like, I'm going to actually like treat some of these games like as if I'm a quote unquote scout, and like see what like, and I think that's going to help the channel. And of course it's going to suck that we're going to stink because interest is lower when a team's bad. Blazers are a small market team. The Blazers have a smaller but more loyal fan base than others, and that's why we appreciate everyone who listens to this, because we know you guys are actual fans. We're not, it's not like we're a Lakers podcast where it's like, half the listeners are just LeBron disciples. They're actually, Blazers actually have the fans. So I think in terms of the analysis we'll give you all this year, at least from me, what I can speak to, it's going to be better because I'm going to actually like watch basketball, not from a like results perspective, but from like a process perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that. Just watching the game in a different light, and just to take some pressure off my own shoulders of feeling like my life sucks and the Blazers like don't win when they're expected to. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
The mental health is going to be in
I'll
a
be
better
going into
spot.
most games. I'll be going into most games with the mindset of not winning, which I think will just, when we do win, it's like, oh, nice, we won. And if we lose, it's like, well, what did we do good? What did we do bad? How can we improve?
Yeah. Let's let's talk a little about kind of what we expect specifically for this first game against the Clippers.
Let's.
Lineup wise, rotation wise, some guys you hope to see play. Chauncey said in his press conference today that he's pretty set on the starting lineup being Scoot, Anthony, Matisse, Jeremy Grant, and DeAndre Ayton, as
Yep.
expected. That's what the starting
Pretty
lineup
stock.
in
Pretty
the
stock.
preseason was. Is there anything you wish to see differently there? Do you wish there was a different three? Do you wish maybe you go Ant Shaden? I've seen some people say they would rather see Ant Shaden, let Scoot kind of get his feet underneath him as a backup, let Anthony play more of his traditional position. But I think that's kind of just an unrealistic thing, just based
Yeah.
on him being the third overall pick.
I wouldn't get too hung up in the who starts. Like, I really think Ant might play a little more than the other two, but I think all their minutes are going to be split pretty evenly.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
honestly, it's going to depend on the night because all three of them they're still in the development stage. They're in some point of their development. Like, Simons isn't hopefully at his peak.
Yeah,
Scoot and Sharp obviously are not at their peak. Scoot hasn't played a game yet.
gotta hope.
But when you draft someone number 3, like, and you're expected to be bad, like, you gotta get him run. You gotta start him. Like, you're making an investment. It's especially, and we've discussed this plenty of times, but this the extracurricular activities going around the number 3 pick and what the Blazers sacrificed to draft Scoot.
Mhm.
That guy's in Milwaukee now, which we'll touch on later we'll do some housekeeping things with what's going on in Milwaukee and how that impacts
Yeah, just
Portland. We'll
weird.
do that at the
Just
end.
oh, I thought you were going to something else. That has to do with two people that were
Oh,
in. Yeah,
we can discuss old TS as well if you
yeah, that
want
was
to
weird.
later. This
But
Mr. Stott.
I think
Stotts.
I
No,
agree with the
not
starting
Stott.
lineup. I think
Yeah, I agree with it.
there's really no guy like the guy you could circle as a guy that could not be in the lineup is obviously Matisse, but there's really like
You need something.
As Kamara's been, I'm not starting Kamara based on a couple preseason games. And then other than that, I'm not starting Sharp. I don't want to see three guards.
You need some defense in that
And then I don't know where else you're going. But
front.
obviously off the bench, you would expect to see Brogdon, Robert Williams, who I don't believe ever played a preseason game. Jabari Walker. That an interesting thing I think will be kind of the
Sharp.
obviously Sharp. I think yeah, the guys you for sure will see
Probably,
is Sharp,
I think
Brogdon,
Monty Kamara.
Robert Williams, and then I think it'll be very interesting to see how Chauncey splits the minutes between the three guys you could see getting forward minutes, whether that's a three or four, in Jabari Walker, Chris Murray, and then Kamara. Kamara got a lot of minutes in the preseason, and obviously Chauncey's been raving about him, and he played really well. Jabari kind of brings a little more of the team need in terms of rebounding, and then Chris Murray is obviously just a rookie that you
He
know
needs
what he
consistent.
brings, and yeah, you obviously want to play him.
I would fully expect a healthy dose of Chris Murray come March and on. A healthy dose of Chris Murray. So,
I would
I
agree.
mean, yeah, I agree with the starting line.
You're a Kamara guy. Tell me
I
a
am
bit
a
about
Kamara
Kamara.
guy. I was just curious about him when we traded for him because
Yeah, I don't even think we mentioned his name one time in
he
the
was
recap pod of that trade.
he was one of those names where I felt like I had heard of him before, but I couldn't picture where. And then I was like, when it was Dayton, I was like, oh, is that right? Dayton, but Dayton hasn't really been good recently in terms of
He
like
started his career at Georgia. I just found that out.
Georgia. See, that's what I'm saying. Like this dude, I feel like I've watched before, but yeah, I went to his draft profile, read him up, um, and I mean, obviously, everyone's strengths is good. His weaknesses were, you know, people tend to say, he's not the most polished guy. That's why he wasn't a pick
Yeah, I
straight
mean,
out
if you
of.
can just get rotation minutes out of this guy, I mean, he's just a
Oh no,
throw-in
exactly.
basically. Yeah.
But yeah, no, but he brought juice in the preseason. Like he brought some defensive energy, which I expect Jabari Walker to bring that too. Obviously Matisse to bring that. I expect Scoot to bring it. Doesn't mean he's going to be good, but I think that this team's going to have a different feel to it, especially when they start to gel come like the dead of winter, like right after Christmas. Like this team is going to gel and they're going to bring a different vibe. Not that the Lillard vibe was bad, it was great. But even Chauncey said it in media day, and we discussed this. Like the Blazers are now into the game. You don't know who the ball's going to. Now, of course, it's a blessing to have Damian Lillard take the last shot. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't want anyone else in the league. Like I want Dame in the clutch. But it was almost a what's the term? What's the opposite of a blessing in disguise? Like a double-edged sword? I don't know. It's not really a sword, but like I
Uh,
don't know.
I know what
You
you're
know,
trying to say, and I had
yeah,
it, and then you said double-edged sword, and I was like, wait, that's it,
that's
but
just
it's
not
not.
it. Double-edged sword is not it. But it's pretty much like a yeah, I don't know. But it was almost not a good thing, is what I'm trying to say. Dude, now that's making me mad. I don't
Now,
know.
and we can't stop talking because it's podcast. We can't like
Oh
sit here and think.
gosh. Uh, let me hold on. No, hold on. Opposite of
It's not a
blessing
double-edged sword.
in disguise.
It might
Oh
be a
my God.
double-edged sword.
No.
Like it's one
Okay, it's
thing.
definitely not a curse in disguise. A poisoned chalice. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Uh, dude, it's almost like it's. I don't know.
it's
Anyway,
on the tip of my tongue. I
I know.
can't think of
We'll
it.
figure it out after the podcast.
I know what you're
Anyway,
saying though.
yeah, it was almost a bad thing to have you know, Dame take the last shot every time. And that's just a small part of what the point I'm trying to make is this team's just going to be different. It's going to be more of a a team effort. Instead of seeing Dame go for 60 and then like next high score is 12, you're going to see, more balanced scoring, a more free flowing offense. Even though it's going to be bad, it's going to be risky. It's going to be fun to watch. Scoot's going to be whipping passes. He's going to average 6 assists as a rookie, which is great. He's also going to make some stupid like turnovers. He's going to have some dumb turnovers that's going to make you go like, we drafted this guy. But he's also going to make some plays that you're going to go like, we drafted that guy? Like, it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that.
Yeah. I'm I had a point I was gonna make, and then you got me on this rabbit hole of blessing in disguise, what the opposite is. So don't know where I was going after that. But gosh, now you just
Dude, I'm
you've messed me up. You've messed me up a lot. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. You were mentioning how you think they're gonna gel come the dead of winter. I think this could be an example of a team that, might start out quote unquote hot, and by hot I mean 6-4. Not, I don't think 10-4 is in our bag this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, but I could see us going on a terrible stretch after the quote unquote hot start, and then we are near bottom of the
Last
barrel
few.
going
The last few.
into mid-January. But then I could also see us going on another run, similar to how we did the year Anthony was breaking out and we went on that 4-game win streak prior to the All-Star break. I could see something like that happening. And then come March and April, messages come down from front office. We're having a touch too many wins, just a touch. We really want a guy like Mateus Buzelis, or however you pronounce his name. Just give us one of the four, Ron Holland, someone like that.
Ron Holland gives me John Collins vibes.
Yeah, I'm not really. Ron Holland got beat by Jackson Shelstead and the Westland Lions, so does he really deserve to be in the NBA? But so did Jaylen Brown, and he was pretty good. Um,
True.
so
So did Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons didn't lose to them. He played
Oh,
them.
well, he played against them.
He won, and he's bad. So maybe that's a sign if you beat
Yeah.
Westland. But no one did this year. Where do you see Blazers' schedule? This is a hard question because, again, I think this is a team that's going to be a little unpredictable to start the year, at least. But that could just also
Yeah,
be my heart talking.
I'm
Where's the
definitely not starting 5-0 against the
where's
spread.
the first win?
First win for this
It could
Blazer
simply
team.
be against the Magic. We obviously start on the road against the Clippers, home against the Magic, home against the
Oh
Sixers, or
gosh.
no, at Sixers, at Raptors.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
there's no easy game on the schedule until the Wizards.
I think we're going to.
But obviously, we're going to win a couple of
Oh,
these
I missed
games.
an entire thing here. I think we beat.
Oh, I clicked straight November. Whoops.
Yeah. Is it at
It's,
Pistons?
I think we like beat the Raptors or some of the Raptors are in shambles, man.
Okay.
Or we just beat the Clippers.
I think we can beat the Magic. I don't just want to pick the first home game, but I will say Magic. Did
Yeah,
McCaffrey fumble? That's crazy.
that is
Sorry, I don't know what
crazy.
happened. Yeah, I'll say Magic. I can't be that naive.
All right, question that I was kind of pondering after listening to another Blazer podcast. Where are you at right now? And just how do you approach the future when it comes to head coach Chauncey Billups, who is now entering his third year of a 5-year contract? And I feel like we know just as much as we did when we hired him, and no opinions have changed, whether that's for good, for his fault or not.
Well, I think for me, I will. I think his legacy in Portland is going to be attached to Scoot.
Yeah.
So I think it's weird because you judge a coach on success, but the Blazers are not expected to have any for a couple years. So you really can't judge Chauncey on wins and losses, or else you would just fire
Obviously, yeah.
in 2 years, even though we weren't supposed to be good. It's not like Mike Malone is going to go turn this team into a good team. Or sorry, Michael Malone. Excuse me. Um, so I think you have to, yeah, I think you have to judge Chauncey based on, like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't care how bad we are or good we are. Like, I don't think my opinion of him. Okay, actually, I take that back. If we're really good this year, obviously, I'll think he's a great coach. But
That is a
if we're
vibes thing.
We stink. Yeah, I think it's just a vibes thing, which can be tough
It's
to
just
really.
really unfortunate because
It's
if
tough.
Chauncey inevitably isn't the guy for this job, then you I really don't know. I feel like you have to have a strong, firm opinion on him if you want him to be the future of the Blazers by the end of this season, because then he'll be going into his fourth year. And if you don't know if you don't know what you have in your coach by your
It's
fourth
just
year, that's
weird.
just
Like
crazy.
this
I
is
know
such
it's
a
weird circumstances, but
it's unique in my opinion because I don't know. Dame being there and then now leaving, now you're restarting. Like this really is this his third year? Like this almost feels like his first year
I
now.
know, but at the same time, it's
But why should it matter if it's his first or third? If he's not consistently building towards the same thing for all 3 years.
that's true.
Like this would be like, I don't know, it'd be like Nick Nurse starting here in Philly and then in 2025, Embiid and like they just gut the roster, but they keep him. I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that like Chauncey was brought in like for this rebuild. Like
I think he was brought in because of Dame, because I think
he's a point guard whisperer
That
though.
was one of the guys Dame wanted. Remember when Dame wanted Jason Kidd? Wow, what a time that was 2 summers ago. Um, but I think that
Flashbacks.
I'll be very interested to see just what is the expect. Obviously, yeah, you don't want to win, but if you go into next year and you're still a bottom of the barrel team, while that might be good for team building because then you get Cooper Flag, but it's such a weird dynamic that you could realistically find yourself in 2 years in the final year of his contract, and it's a contract year, and you still don't know what you have in your coach. Um,
Well, I think
there's nothing I've seen from Chauncey to say he's a bad coach, but there's also nothing that I've seen from him that's like
I'm not.
for sure my guy.
I think Chauncey will be here. Here's a hot take for you. I think here's a really hot take. I think Chauncey is the Blazers coach for the whole decade.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That's really hot.
if you're gonna have the patience for that for Chauncey to kind of see this rebuild through, then yeah, I mean, I could see that. Now,
Now,
that probably means we're maybe winning a championship in the next 10 years because,
right. That's why it's really hot.
yeah.
If it's a solid take, I think he's our coach until 2027 because 2026 we're good. We were finally good, but we kind of, bow out in the playoffs, no experience for Scoot or whatever, or maybe 2025, but like 2027, 2028, if he's not getting over the hump or at least there, then, you probably move on. But I don't know. That's so far in the future.
Yeah.
I guess my entire point to your question is I am basing it off vibes, which again is just so subjective. Like, you can't base it off wins. You really can't base it off like stats, really, because like, the guy you're investing in is a rookie. Like it's rookie numbers, man. Like
So it's so weird, man. It's
I think, yeah, I mean, I think Joe and Chauncey are fine
because it was
together.
Neil. Neil was the one to hire Chauncey in the first place. So typically, a lot of the times when you see a new GM, now this is majority in other sports, especially football, when a new GM comes in, the old coach is typically fired because the GM kind of wants their own stamp. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just an interesting thing to think about. It's more so about I don't want to get so caught up in what do you do for the future, but it's more like, is there anything this season that can make you like is there any chance Chauncey gets fired this year?
I
Probably
think
not.
I think if the only way if there's like a division in the locker room.
Yeah,
Like
which I just don't see happening.
if he keeps the locker room together, he's fine.
I
Now,
think that's something he's always gonna have because he's more of a player's coach, like a
yeah,
lot of the NBA is nowadays.
yeah. I mean, I would look now again if he gets the pieces that he wants, and Joe gives him the the necessary pieces to the puzzle, and he underachieves, say 2026, out to go hit.
Yeah.
So, which leads me, just because I really don't know how to answer that question, this leads me to a better question. We'll go to another we'll go to another Blazer coach once upon a time. Terry Stotts, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. And then we'll also talk about the other thing. Inevitably, guys, sorry, we're gonna check on the Bucks periodically throughout this year because how can you not? But Terry getting or stepping down is so weird.
I
Apparently
don't
it's
know
because
much about it.
apparently I read it's because now this is obvious. There's no way this is the only reason. This must have been built up, but Terry was like talking to Giannis and Dame while head coach Adrian Griffin was trying to kind of get all the guys together to talk to the whole team. And he was like, Terry, let me talk to Giannis and Dame too. And Terry was like, no, give me time. And it got heated. And I want to talk to the guys, kind of like power struggle almost. And apparently Terry stepped down. So really weird. Um, I wonder if Dame is
So weird,
cares
dude.
at all about that.
Dude. Yeah, I just saw the news report about it. I am not plugged in to Milwaukee in terms
Yeah.
of petty drama that goes on day to day, so I don't really know, but it was weird because I feel like Terry Stotts knows what he likes. And seeing like Terry
And it's
Stotts,
just a good guy to have on staff, I feel like.
the Stotts fence with Giannis as the pick, as the roll man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My goodness. Speaking
Speaking
of
of Giannis,
Giannis, he is re-signing, re-upping 3 years, 186. I think it's like north of 60 a year.
player
But
option in 27, 28 or something.
that's the thing is Dame's contract's up in 2026. Giannis gets player options in 27, 28, or whatever it is. Blazers get Bucks picks the year after that, or 2029 and 2030. Is that what it is? 27 through 29. It's the back end of the
It's
decade.
swaps in 28 and 30, and then an unprotected pick in 29, I think.
Okay. So yeah. So in terms of where the Blazers benefit from this contract is Giannis is only signing for 3 years. And put yourself in Giannis's shoes. The best teammate you've ever played with is there until 2026. When he retires, he's
2027, I think.
2027. He is 30,
He's 34 right now. He'll be 37,
37,
38.
38 years old. Okay. Your
Probably
window's
washed.
probably coming to a close. Now, Dame, of course,
It's going to be coming back to Portland. But
right. So he's not washed, but the title window is closing in Milwaukee in 2027, most likely. Giannis now with player options could leave. He's probably, you good? Still at the peak of his powers. Maybe a little, maybe not best player in the world caliber anymore. But that's interesting for the Blazers because this provides a path for Milwaukee just stinking when the Blazers get the picks in those 3 years. Small market team, man. It's not like the Bucks
it's
are
just
going to be
very
like
interesting. It's just
the Bucks don't have a revolving door of stars like the Lakers. Like the Lakers or, big market team can always go out and get a big fish in the offseason. The Bucks are probably going to have to, especially like fresh off of some titles.
yeah.
I can see them being booty.
And it's not even something we want to overreact to and say, oh,
No.
this is huge, but it is just something to note because Giannis is doing very similar things to what LeBron was doing, not signing these big 5, 6 year extensions, keeping it 2, 3 years down the line, keeping his options open. And I mean, as a player, that's a really smart thing to do. So,
Food for thought. It's food for thought.
yeah, just just gnaw on that for a little bit, guys.
Just chew on that, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would anticipate.
I would anticipate us having the first overall pick in 3 consecutive years.
That's wild, especially that. Look, the thing about the Blazers rebuild right now is our window, theoretically, is when the Bucks picks would convey. Like if you're at the top of the league, maybe, or even the top half of the
And
Western
then
Conference, and you're getting, yeah, you can use that for trades if you
I
want
can
to.
see it 2020, 2028 podcast. Blazers have a pick. Does Joe finally cash in?
On freaking who? Wimby?
Will he cash in on um let me think here. Um who's a big recruit coming in this year for basketball? Keontae Johnson.
Wow.
I was just thinking March Madness last year. Speaking of basketball, Max Abmas, the dude from Oral Roberts, transferred to Texas.
Really?
Yeah, I just found that out.
Good for him. You know where Oral Roberts is located?
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Yeah. That is correct. Um,
So if you want a trivia like that, you know where to find it. TikTok.
Tick tock.
Um, honestly, that's really all I have. Let's do a quick little finish on a little 2 to 5 minute segment. Let's just talk solely Clippers. I know we kind of touched it a little bit. What is your ultimate prediction? Give me, give me a leading score. Give me a guy that you think is going to have an impact more than the average fan would expect.
I think Anthony Simons will pace the Blazers with 24 points.
Yeah.
And I think that Malcolm Brogdon will have 15 off the bench
In a
on perfect shooting
in a win or loss.
and a 127 to 109 loss.
I like that. High points for the Clippers. I'm going to agree with you on the loss. I'm going to say we lose 121 to
It's good. Good,
108.
good defense. How about this? How about this? Do the Clippers cover the 9.5?
I think the Clippers do cover because they are going to win 121 to 108. I think that this is a big DeAndre Ayton game. Clippers notoriously never really have a great center. They still don't.
Zubats.
So I do think Ayton, I think we could see a 22 and 14 game from Ayton.
Like it.
So that is my leading score. Mm, no, 24 and 14 from Ayton because he will be the leading scorer at 24 points. I think Anthony has a solid game, but I think he could be getting tough defensive matchup. And I think Scoot Henderson will have 10 plus assists
Ooh.
because he's playing against the guy who we always comp him to, and that is Russell Westbrook. So I think Scoot has a great game, and I think we'll keep it close through the first half, but then mid late third quarter, a little bit of a run. But I think we see a good Scoot game in his debut under the bright lights of LA. That is all we have. We will be
I
doing
will say,
yes.
I think, well, actually, no. Who the heck is guarding Kawhi and PG? Thibault and Grant, I guess. I guess Thibault and Grant.
If okay, you will hear a rant from me on our next podcast, probably coming out Thursday morning after the game, if we see Jeremy Grant guarding Russell Westbrook. If he guards the lead guard again this year, I'm going to throw a temper tantrum
Yeah,
because I didn't like that last year.
two reasons. One, I think Jeremy Grant is useful
Jeremy,
elsewhere.
Jeremy Grant's more of an off-ball defender. He's not some
Right.
elite on-ball guy.
And if we're just embrace the suck, embrace the
Yeah,
stinkiness of this team, and just put Scoot on Russell
throw him to
Westbrook.
the
Let
fire.
Scoot learn. Let Scoot learn.
Yeah, so that is our prediction for the Wednesday game. The opening night against the Clippers should be fun, should be exciting.
Yeah.
Make sure to come back to this channel on Thursday to see our post-game reaction podcast. That will include all three of us, I hope. And make sure to go follow our TikTok for more NBA related content over there.
Yes.
A lot of trivia, a lot of fun stuff over there. So that's going to do it for the podcast, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you guys on Thursday morning, hopefully 1-0, because I'll take a first game win. Peace
Of
out,
course.
guys.